Sometimes when I attend a swim meet, I'm blown away by the performance of one particular swimmer. And last week I was coaching at the Mare Nostrum Swim Series and couldn't believe what I was seeing. That was because young Japanese breaststroke prodigy Shin Ohashi was blowing away his competitors at just 16 years old. He swam the fastest times in history for a 16-year-old swimming the breaststroke events, and he was just fantastic to watch. In today's video, I'm going to talk you through Shin's performances last week at the Mare Nostrum Swim Series. But before I do that, I want to talk you through what the Mare Nostrum Swim Series are, because it's one of my favourite events on the calendar and you might not be familiar with it. You see, once a year, the best swimmers all over the world gather in Europe for 7 days of competition. But the fun part is that it's 3 two-day meets that take place over a week, changing venues 3 times and also changing countries. Every year the order of meets is different, but in the 2025 edition, we started in Monaco for a 2-day meet before having 2 days off as we traveled to Barcelona, before having a final rest day as we traveled to Cannes in France for the final 2-day meet. I was there coaching a group of athletes from all around the world, including some Hong Kong athletes such as Siobhan Haughey, who returned to competition in brilliant style, and some Czech athletes such as Jan Žeka, who qualified for the World Championships this summer in Singapore, and Barbara Simonova, who swam fantastic. One of my favourite races of the whole meet was the final 100 freestyle in Cannes, where Bara come back in almost a negative split to go 26.5, 27.1 for a 53.700 freestyle. But that's not who we're talking about today. Today we're talking about Shin, who I first witnessed in the Barcelona leg. Some swimmers do all 3 legs because there's a better way of maximising racing, but also prize money. But the Japanese team, including Shin, flew in for just the 2nd and 3rd leg. So in the Monaco leg, there was no Shin to be seen. But as we got to Barcelona, it was very clear that Shin was here to race, because he raced all 3 breaststroke disciplines, the 50, the 100, the 200, and was incredibly fast. The 50 was his most pedestrian effort, where he didn't even make the A final, instead finishing 2nd in the B final for 10th overall with a PB of 27.9. He was a little sharper in the 100 breaststroke, going 60.5 for 6th, and in the 200 breaststroke he got in the podium, going a PB of 2090 to come 2nd to Kirill Prigoda. Now, you might be saying, well, he only podiumed in 1 event, that's not so great. But the reality is that the best breaststrokers in the world were here. Olympic champion Nicolo Martineggi was racing. The 2nd fastest 50 breaststroker of all time, Ilya Shimanovic, was racing. The new up-and-comer breaststroke from Italy, Luca, was racing. And of course, the world record holder in the short course 200 breaststroke, Kirill Prigoda, was racing. So there was some hot competition. So even getting 1 podium was pretty great for a 16-year-old boy. But the reality was, Shin was just gearing up for what he would do in Cannes. Because when he got to Cannes with just 24 hours of rest, he had evolved once again, swimming massive lifetime bests in every one of the 3 disciplines. The 50 was stronger already. He went 27.6 for a 0.3 PB in what must be his weakest of the 3 disciplines. But there was no lack of ability when it comes to the 100. This time coming 2nd in the 100, 0.7 faster than he did in Barcelona. The crazy thing about these meets is it's not like they're 2 weeks later and you go and train or you get extra tape or extra rest. The reality is you finish very late, finals finished very late in Barcelona. You wake up, we woke up at 7 a.m. in Barcelona to get on a 3-hour bus ride to Cannes. Once in Cannes, you can go and check out the pool on the day 1, and then the next morning you wake up and that's when the 100 breaststroke was. So he had basically 48 hours between going 60.5 and then finally breaking the minute with a 59.8, which is I think the first, and you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, the first 16-year-old to ever go sub-minute in the 100 breaststroke. All these times, just to clarify, they're not short course yards, they're not short course meters, they're long course meters. Olympic sized pool, 50-meter pool, 59.88 to come 2nd behind Kirill Prigoda, who went 59.6. He opened it up fast in 27.8 and come back just as fast in 32.0 with a high tempo, brilliant head drive, brilliant body line. And I would say the weakest area in all his strokes would be the dive and the start. And Kirill Prigoda is one of the best at pullouts in history. That's why he has the 200 breaststroke short course world record. But it was really notable how much Kirill extended an instant lead over Shin just off the dive and again off every turn, but Shin was incredible on the stroke. Before we look at and watch the whole 200 breaststroke final, which was by far Shin's best race of the Mare Nostrum Series, I do just want to bring you a little message from today's sponsor. And the reason this sponsor bit is so perfect for today's video is because it's the easiest way to get the suit that Shin Ohashi wears. Shin Ohashi is Japanese and he wears an Arena Japan suit. It's this exact suit that I'm holding in my hand, although he was wearing it in a black colorway. Now you see, Arena in Japan is completely different to Arena in the US, the UK, Europe, and is actually a separate company called Descent who have licensed the Arena name. So this suit here is not made by Arena in Italy, but is in fact made by Descent in Japan. And this is the Arena Aquaforce Motion Free, Aquaforce Storm Motion Free. It has a fabric like no other, which has this weird waxy fabric, but it's super comfortable, super stretchy, easy to get on, and it even has this cool system where you twist this little bit of tape in here into your inner thigh to help with some kick support in a way that isn't taping. I actually love this suit, and although I'm a sprinter, I'll never wear this on my main race day. This is my most worn suit in 2024 because it's so easy to put on. I was wearing it almost every day in training. I would warm up and put this suit on poolside in about 30 seconds. So, just to clarify, this video is not sponsored by Arena Japan. This video is sponsored by Buyee, a Japanese drop shipping service who allow anyone all over the world to buy anything from Japan. Not just swimsuits, but swim goggles, swim caps, and even Pokemon cards like I like to do. The process is really simple. You click the link in my description of this video for 10% off and make an account. And having done that, you go and search all these Japanese shops, but the most easy to use would be JD Shopping, which you can buy this suit from, which is basically like Amazon. You purchase what you want, so you can purchase this suit in whatever color you want, in whatever size. Just to clarify, I wear a large, but Shin being much smaller than me probably wears a small or even extra small. Once you've purchased it, the distributor who doesn't ship worldwide will ship it to the Buyee warehouse, where you will then put in your address and ship it to you wherever you are in the world. Other than paying the price of this product, so this is a $180 suit, other than paying the price of this product, you will pay about $20 to ship it to wherever you are in the world, and you will pay about a $5 service fee if you want insurance, which of course I recommend for peace of mind. I have used this service personally upward of 20 times now to get Japanese suits, but also to get Pokemon cards, and it is a breeze to use, super easy, super convenient, super efficient, and I can't recommend it enough. And it's why they've been my longest serving sponsor, because I truly think it's a brilliant service and a brilliant product. And this is a brilliant suit, and it's the one that the fastest 16-year-old breaststroker of all time is wearing, and you might want to check out. I have done a full review on this channel, but anyhow, Buyee were the sponsor. That being said, we've finally got to the best point of the video, the point where we're going to talk about Shin's best swim of the entire Mare Nostrum series, which came on the last day of Cannes, about 40 minutes after he swam the 50 breaststroke final. He got up on the block in lane 3, having been third in the heats, and he swam the 200 breaststroke next to Kirill Pagoda. Kirill got a fantastic lead on the start, opening up a massive deficit, but Shin was straight on the stroke rate. In fact, his stroke rate over the first 50 was 49 strokes a minute, which is incredibly high, and if he was in the Olympic final would definitely be on the higher end. He settled into the middle 100, going about a stroke rate of 40 to 43, and then put the hammer down. Kirill opened up a lead on the first 15 meters that he basically held for 170 meters, and it looked like he was going to hold off Shin for the win, but Shin's final 50 of 33.0, a mind-blowing split, a split that most breaststrokers would be happy or even would train for in 100 breaststroke. He finished at his 200 breaststroke in 33.0 to go the first sub 209 swim of a 16-year-old in history to go 2:08.8. Kirill was second in 2:08.9, and really showcase immense talent. I was blown away by the swim. I was on poolside not believing what I was seeing, and it was just a fantastic week of breaststroke, but also a fantastic week for Shin. And I should note that Shin, one, is not Yui Ohashi, the Olympic champion of 200 and 400 IM's brother, but also Shin will not be competing at the World Championships in Singapore this summer. You see, certain things are synonymous. One of them would be Japanese swimmers in the 400 IM, and another would be Japanese swimmers in the 200 breaststroke. And that means as good as Shin is, and Shin actually come into this meet with slower PBs in the 1500, but still a fantastic 2092 from when he was 15 in the 200 breaststroke. Even with that incredible pedigree coming into this meet, he did not make the Japanese team for World Championships, but he may well be going to the World Junior Championships in Ottopenny. I hope that he will be announced to swim there, and if he does, he is of course the favourite to win, and he'll probably win by, well, a considerable margin. Although I don't doubt that Philip Nowacki, if he goes from the UK, Great Britain, who swims at Millfield and this weekend at 17 went 2:10, will give him a challenge. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know what your favourite swim of the last week was at Mare Nostrum, or maybe it was the 12-year-old in China who went 206 200 butterfly, which is, yeah, it's more mind-blowing than Shin's performance, and maybe I'll make a video on that another day. Thanks to Buyee for sponsoring, and check them out if you need anything from Japan, and as always, I'll see you on the next video.